Hello and welcome to the Home Assistant Podcast. My name is Phil. Joining me as usual, I've got my co-host, Rohan. How's it going?
Good.
And today we are joined by two guests. First up, the Commander-in-Chief, I guess, Paulus. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
And would you say you're number one, Pascal, who created Hass.io, has been on the podcast before. Welcome back, Pascal.
Hi guys, nice to meet you again.
This episode is sponsored by Home Assistant Cloud by Nabokasa. Easily and securely access your local Home Assistant instance remotely for a small monthly fee that also supports the Home Assistant project. The configuration is done by the user interface, so there's no fiddling with router settings, SSL certificates, or any YAML.
So today is the birthday of Hass.io, and I thought we would do a celebratory birthday special for you guys. So Pascal, congratulations on another year of Hass.io being out there. How many years is Hass.io out there now for?
Thanks for the congratulations. I think 2 years. Yeah, the time goes so fast over.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's really cool to see that it's still going on, and this year's been pretty impressive with the features like Ingress coming out and all that, so things are not slowing down as well.
Yeah, and it will go faster because I'm here by Nabokasa and I have time by side to work on Home Assistant, to work also on Hass.io and move really fast forward. That's really cool.
Yeah, the Ingress feature has been really nice because all of a sudden it becomes so straightforward to integrate things. Like you install it, it's there. You click a button, it's in the sidebar. And then all of a sudden there's no configuration to be done to make it really part of your system. It just integrates.
Right. It's have you guys heard any feedback in terms of, hey, this is fantastic, we love it, blah, 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 and then here's what we kind of want to do going further, and are those some things that you're looking at as well?
I think the big thing that we want to do next is kind of more do like discovery related things, where if you plug in a decon stick, we can suggest a decons add-on, and we already have that when the decons add-on sets up, the decons integration is loaded. So we kind of like trigger discoveries all the way and really guide the user into setting up the right integrations and add-ons.
Right.
Yeah, the whole hardware part is very static with Docker, but we found some solution, and it looks very good that we can change that in the future, that we have really a dynamic hardware handling. So you put the stick in, it shows the correct add-on or discover the correct integration on Home Assistant. Or he restart the add-on if you put it a USB stick out and so on.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so I'm guessing that's where you're thinking of maybe for the next year, that'll be the focus of getting, a tighter hardware integration for Hass.io and Home Assistant in general. Yeah,
in general, the hardware, a lot of users are faced with a problem that the hardware is, or the hardware support is really annoying with Docker. So
right.
It's very hard to change hardware or to plug a new hardware in. You reboot and the device was renamed, and you need to discover, this device has no 1 instead 0 in the device name and so on. And there is a lot of features, and we try to bring these features from Linux system into Docker system, and make that a lot usable.
Interesting. Are there a ton of people doing this kind of stuff with Docker, or because I can see that being pretty niche, like in the sense that not a ton of people are doing like these more advanced kind of use cases using Docker.
Docker is most used or mostly Docker is static, but it's no problem because I create a Docker or I create a Docker Compose or use Kubernetes, and I have a fixed environment, and I know how this environment will look like. But Hass.io works on so many devices and so many environments and changing environments. So the normal Docker handling with hardware is nothing what we really can use.
So A few weeks ago, I had to fly down to San Diego for a work event, and I actually got to meet up with Paulus for the first time. We've talked to each other quite a few times, but we actually had never met until a couple of weeks ago. So I had a great time, and Paulus, thank you for hosting us. And we did a quick little meetup there too, just grab some pizza and beers or whatever, and hung out. It was great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like we I think we had like 5-6 people there, and we just talked Home Assistant. We were like, there was like one fairly new user, so we were even able to like kind of experiment ideas of him, of like, hey, what concepts does he understand, or what concepts does he like not understand? And we were like making some mock-ups with like stickers, trying to like, hey, how should we move around the UI? It was really nice.
It was a lot of fun. I also got to empty out Paulus's sticker stash, so it's
that's awesome.
that was great.
Jealous.
Yeah. I've got one on pretty much all of my laptops now.
I need also some new stickers.
Yeah, I'm gonna print some new ones. I'm almost through. I think I ordered 1,000 last time, and it's time for a new one, because on the back the URL is without it's just HTTP and not HTTPS. So
right.
It's a big no. So I definitely need to update that. Yeah, but I think it's always so great, because at a meetup, like meeting these people, I talk to people all the time online, either like through calls or a chat, but to meet them in real life, it gives us a different dimension, and it's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so much fun for us too, to interface with users and just talk about, hey, what are you doing? And it's the same kind of stuff we do on the show, but also in real life, right? Because you can pick their brains about, hey, look, I was trying to do something like this too, and blah 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 blah. And it's always more fun over a beer too. So that's always great.
Yeah, I'm actually for people listening here that are living in San Francisco, I was thinking I'm going to be in San Francisco for a day on the August 2nd, and I was thinking of doing another meetup on the August 2nd. I posted a quick post on the forums, which I'll make sure the link ends up in the release notes of this podcast. But it would be great if people want to hang out in San Francisco.
That's awesome. I'm so jealous of you guys, like Northern Hemisphere. It's just everywhere's so close.
the entire hemisphere is just close.
It feels like it.
Yeah. I've never met Pascal in real life.
Yeah.
Here we are, like, working for the same company.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that's funny.
We worked a long time together, but we never see us in the real life.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's a big task on my list.
It's priority number 2 right after Home Assistant 1.0. Yeah. That's funny. But yeah, there you go. So next time, Pascal, Phil, you guys need to fly this way.
Yeah.
Or we need to fly that way. One of the two.
We need to make a release party.
That's right.
Make a release party.
There we go.
That'd be nice.
I like that. Yeah. Of course, on the Home Assistant front, we've had a lot of big changes. I think in the last couple of weeks, there was also Home Assistant Cast that just got dropped very suddenly. Thanks, Paulus, for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was playing with Home Assistant, like with the Chromecast. It's been this thing has been on my to-do list since forever, right? Like I think one of the first integrations into Home Assistant, like 5 years ago, was the Chromecast. I reverse engineered the first generation protocol, which is based on WebSockets. Then they changed up the protocol when they got more serious, when they changed to protobuf, and we reverse engineered that too. And ever since then, I had this I should really build a cast application for Home Assistant, because I know that we can send messages back and forth from the Python side to the Chromecast, and that way we can, plug up stuff on the TV when things happen, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But then it never became the number one priority. It was always on my to-do list, but it just always got pushed backwards. And now Frank was showing me something he saw on the forums that people were using to cast other websites to the Chromecast, and I was like, I should just give it a spin. And so I started working on it, and I was able to reuse a lot of our existing infrastructure from our front end. And so I was able to use our authentication tokens. I was able to reuse Lovelace.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden it became actually super easy. So I just had to define a few messages that we wanted to send over. And so now, the application will load, the front end will send over a token so that the Home Assistant cast can connect, and then we can just send arbitrary Lovelace configurations, and then those will be rendered. And I didn't want to go all in with like showing the full Home Assistant UI, because I think that people want to have, it's a different use case, right? Like if you have a Google Nest Hub, it's a small device. It just has like, you want to do some quick interactions. You don't want to have all the tabs, all the buttons, the sidebars, the configuration panel, dev tools. All that stuff is not necessary. I really wanted to go for like a minimalistic approach. Yet I still wanted to offer the full power of Lovelace because I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. Like we have this great configuration language set up now, and people have been building all this cool stuff. And so be able to reuse that is really going to be like, going to jumpstart Home Assistant cast UIs, I think.
Yeah, some features need also time. So it's good that Paulus dig it later into this trouble, because the front end was for 2 years not on the point to make that possible. And now with Lovelace and all the cool features on the last, it's very easy it all need work, but now we are able to make this work.
Yeah. The overhaul is already paying off, right? And to your point, Paulus, it's like, great Lovelace components. You can use that. A lot of the Home Assistant auth components and this and that, right? So it starts stacking, so which is really, really cool. So I mean, to me, that sounds like it's validation of you guys made the right choices when you said, okay, let's rewrite the UI component. Let's rewrite this and that. And so
it's been really paying off, and it's kind of fascinating to see that it's paying off so well. There's so little changes that are actually necessary to make everything work.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a credit to you guys and everyone planning, and having the foresight to think ahead. Okay, let's do it in this way. And now you're really, getting that use out of it when it comes down to, what can we do now? Well, here is a use case that we can easily pivot to and apply it to. So yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I think with Home Assistant Cast, we should be able to, we'll start with Lovelace, but because Lovelace is just a web, people can start rendering whatever they want. And I think it's going to be cool because some people want to have informational things shown on like TVs in their house, maybe. Some people want to build interactive UIs with Home Assistant Cast.
Yeah.
Maybe some other people will, just the fact that Home Assistant will now offer a very configurable cast display will maybe reuse Home Assistant to show like information in their offices or something, right? Like something completely unrelated to what Home Assistant is meant for. And because it's all so easy, it should be, it should be awesome to see what's gonna happen when we let this loose.
So is it available for all like Chromecast devices? So I'm thinking, like the actual Chromecast as well as Nest Hubs and anything that is Google Cast capable?
Yes, anything that is Google Cast video capable. So
yes,
right.
There's also the audio. The Chromecast audio actually also works with a browser and JavaScript, but it has no UI. And so I've been thinking about like, do we want like text to speech kind of like build our own app that's always active and ready to play? But first things first. So I want to first get this one going and see where it's gonna end up. And
isn't the Chromecast audio like they're not selling that anymore though? They're sort of phasing it out.
So they're not selling the Chromecast audio as an independent unit, but they're still every Google Assistant device without a screen has a Chromecast audio in it. So a Google Home Mini, they all have Chromecast audios.
Right. And protocol-wise, I'm sure it's exactly the same as well.
It's exactly
under
the
the
same.
covers.
Yeah.
So, it was actually pretty smart move by Google because the moment they launched, the Chromecast was out for like 5 years and there was very wide support and, Netflix supported it, Spotify supported it, like all the major players supported it. And all of a sudden the Google Home comes out and boom, it's another target. You can just play your stuff on it. Like every app already had a button, play on my Google Home.
Yeah.
So in terms of, and I'm going to be a bit selfish here, what can we look forward to for anyone that's in the Amazon ecosystem?
So I'm personally a lot more familiar with the Chromecast protocol, just because I worked with it in the past when I reverse engineered the protocol to integrate into Home Assistant.
Yeah.
I know that there's a browser for the Echo Show, but I haven't looked into all the details and their capabilities yet. And so if there is an easy way we can have our browser spin something up on an Alexa device, it's going to be easy because it will be easy to share the authentication credentials. If it's an app that we have to launch, then we have to go through the login screen, which is not impossible, of course. But it's just a more like having people like type something on the Echo Show. I don't even know if there's like a keyboard available for such cases or how that all going to work. I mean, but if it's possible, we should, eventually we'll build it, I guess. Somebody will build it.
That's it, right? Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. But then again, the cast has been available for a long time, and it's, it took 5 years for someone to step up.
Is Amazon using, or would they be using a similar protocol? Because cast right now is pretty much a standard thing, right? Like
it is a standard thing, but it's a Google thing. So Google owns, it was Chromecast. So it was literally like, this is a Chrome browser and you just send stuff to it.
Yeah.
And you have to register your application with Google. So it's not like an open protocol where you just say, open this website and things work. No, you have to register with Google. Google can ban you if you're abusing the system.
Right.
And these kind of things. And so I don't know. So I know that like the Amazon Echo has like Firefox built in. And that's how they used to work around the YouTube blocks that Google put in place. But I don't know how if we can like just have Firefox be there for us.
Yeah. And I guess Amazon wouldn't want to leverage something like Cast just in case, again, Google blocks them again or does whatever, right?
It's not a public protocol, right? So all the apps are loaded by talking to Google and getting a Google SDK give you the actual URL to load.
And with the Cast protocol, we can support more device as only the Alexa or Amazon frames.
Yeah, right. So there's other brands that you can support as opposed to just being an Amazon-only device.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, that's... hopefully we don't get into the situation where, everybody and their uncle has their own quote-unquote Cast kind of protocol, right? Which is... That can get a little annoying for developers like yourselves.
Yeah, I think ideally, I would have liked to see a just generic browser standard, right? That's open, that like an Alexa could implement, a Chrome could implement. But because it requires some work from the browsers to do, because from our code in a website, we cannot just do a network discovery to see if there's any Cast-enabled devices and then open like sockets to it like just randomly. We need to have some browser permissions for this, and it's not there right now. And I don't think it's gonna come either because Google already has their Chromecast, so they're not gonna push it. Apple doesn't care because they don't have a device that is like has a screen, and Firefox has neither, right?
Yeah,
you can look to smart homes and you see so many different protocols and interfaces. And they was never able to make a standard for home. For home automation device.
Totally.
It's generally the way everyone wants to be the first one to dominate and create the standard so then they can license it out and go that way.
Yeah, and so the way Home Assistant Cast is going to work with like how to define configuration for Lovelace that you're going to send over. We're going to make a small change into how Lovelace configurations work, because right now a Lovelace configuration defines one. Well, let's call it a dashboard, right? And so you have multiple tabs, like we call them views, and each view has like all these widgets that it's like wants to show. And we're going to make a change in that it's going to be possible to have multiple dashboards. And so you can have a dashboard for what you want to show. Like normally when you open the app, you can have a dashboard for when you want to cast to a Google Cast device. And then we're going to have buttons that you can just place inside your UI where you're going to say, when I press this button, open up the cast menu, and then cast this view from this dashboard to the Google Cast. And you can also start showing that view locally, so you can just edit it as normal. You can just develop it. Well, what you see is what you get. Like, you have the editors, you plug and play, and then you can just send it over to a Google Cast. And because it's all stored in the backend, we will also be able to just send configuration over from the backend to any Cast device in your network.
Okay, that's kind of cool. Okay, I'm just trying to picture that. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's really just going to be, you'll see a button and then you press it, just a normal Cast experience as you're used to.
That's awesome.
And then,
and you kind of pick your target and just says, all right, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've been trying to reach people at the Chromecast team to see, because I did a hack to enable the touch controls, and I need to make sure that they're not gonna like pull our app.
Right.
Yes, that's probably
Yeah.
a good idea.
Can you use the Lovelace card for video, for live video?
I've been playing with it and I couldn't get it to work just yet. So I don't know if there are some special tricks to get video to play, because it's a bit more integrated video, because they have, they do like picture in picture and all these kind of different things. But it should be
Yeah.
possible, because I see the YouTube app has advanced video controls inside the Google Nest Hub. So if Nest can do it, we should be able to do it. However, not all pieces of the API might be all public or documented properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you do something like you translate it to GIF real time and then send that across.
We actually did do that in the past, where we would convert it to an MJPEG stream, which is literally just JPEG picture, and the browser knows that when the next picture comes to replace the old picture, so you get like the idea video, but it's very inefficient, because there's no normal video stream has these compression tactics where it will send the difference between the current and the next picture, and so that's where it knows how to build up the next picture, and then every so many pictures, like 16, it will send like a keyframe, which is a full picture again, and then it starts sending diffs. And with MJPEG, there's no diffs. You just send full pictures all the time.
And so it's a lot more bandwidth intensive.
Yeah, and it also requires a lot of CPU power, right? Because you need to read in the video stream and like transcode it. And so we've been, with our current approach to video streaming, is that we only have to repackage it. So we take the stream that comes in as RTSP and we repackage it as HLS, which it's pretty much that the way it's best described is that like you get all these boxes into your house, you unpack it, put the content exactly as is into new boxes, and then ship it off.
Remux.
So we don't actually change the content.
Right.
And that makes it very efficient and be able to run on a Pi easily.
So then HLS is pretty non-CPU intensive, let's call it. Like it's pretty friendly for relative to using something else, right?
Maybe 10%.
Yeah.
HLS is because it's just the way it's packaged. We don't have to like change from a video stream to JPEG files, for example, that we send off.
Right.
Yeah, so it's very efficient.
It needs a resource, so maybe 10%, but if you transcode full video stream, you need maybe 60%.
Yeah.
Per user.
Yeah, per stream.
Yeah, and running that on a Pi would be...
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Pi 4 is a lot faster. We haven't done any benchmarks yet, which we'll probably do eventually once we have Hass.io running on it.
Today, I see the first patch for U-Boot, our bootloader. And so I can start to porting HassOS to Raspberry Pi 4.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That was the current
that was the roadblock stopping.
Yeah.
So that's great news.
Yeah, because what happens is the Raspberry Pi 4 has its own Linux kernel, and so all the different parts from HassOS that hook into the hardware system, etc., they all need to be updated to work with the Raspberry Pi 4.
Yeah, that makes sense. New hardware.
Yeah, but we're lucky that the Raspberry Pi is so popular that these things generally happen very fast.
Yeah.
Whenever we have to add support for other hardware that is a bit more obscure, if these things are not available, it makes it very difficult for us to even add support.
Yeah, fair enough.
HassOS is an embedded Linux system, so we have not only one kernel, we have two kernels and two user space, and that allow us to update real time into the second kernel space and user space. And after reboot, he boot the new kernel, and if that fails or if something wrong on the next reboot, he boot the old kernel from the old update or from the original update. And so we are able to make real-time updates without break the device. But that needs a bootloader.
Yeah,
that's actually pretty neat.
So we are not a normal Raspberry, and they have a single kernel on the SD card, and the system boot this kernel. We have a real full embedded Linux environment on HassOS. And so we can make a full update over over the air.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah.
That's actually pretty impressive.
That is also the different to to Raspbian. And
Yeah.
our root system is read only, so there is no we help the lifetime of the SD card because every write access are blocked to the root system.
Which I think people will appreciate their SD cards lasting that little bit longer.
That's right.
So apart from that, like what's going on with Home Assistant in general? I guess it's middle of the year and all that. How are you guys tracking? I think how's 1.0 coming along, Paulus?
It's coming. It's not going as fast as I would want, and I think the biggest challenge is that it requires a lot of front end work. And basically there's not many people working on the front end compared to like the back end. And so, this work needs to be done. But then we're also just, the general like contributors, they want to have their stuff code reviewed and merged into Home Assistant. So, we're still working on like getting our code reviews, like our, the time that the code review takes, like get lower. We're like automating more chores. Like Pascal's done a lot of automation around our release cycle recently, so that like we just tag a beta now and it will be published without us having to press any buttons anymore. And so we're just trying to streamline the way we work. And one of the reasons we increased the release cycle from 2 to 3 weeks was that we were able to actually get more work done ourselves, because with a 2-week release cycle we were managing the beta, then we were managing hot fixes, and then it was time for the beta again, and it just hardly gave us breathing room. And it was great in the fact that like we move very fast, but we move very like wide. Like we got all these like integrations and features that are not per se related to the core, but are cool for a certain group of people. But with Home Assistant 1.0, our focus is to really make the core very user friendly, so that people will, more people can use it, and it's easier to use, and you're less likely to break your system. So one of the things we're actually introducing in Home Assistant 0.96 is a so-called advanced mode. And so advanced mode is a UI only feature that if it's disabled, it will hide certain features from the UI that normal users, like non-advanced users, wouldn't use. And they're mainly related to configuration of YAML. So advanced mode allows you to show the customize configuration panel. It shows you the reload configuration of the YAML groups or automations buttons. And all these buttons will be hidden by default. And if you're like at the places where they used to be, like if at the bottom of the configuration screen, there will be like a small piece of text like missing configuration options, enable advanced mode. And then when you enable advanced mode, it's like a per user option. So you can enable advanced mode for yourself, but like other users in your home that are using Home Assistant will not get it, use advanced mode. But you can use the advanced features.
Sort of like an admin and user sort of relationship. An admin can go in and reload the configuration, whereas a user that doesn't need to care about that can just go ahead and play with turn the lights off and on.
Well, actually, this is inside the administrator group as well. There might be people that don't want all the fancy stuff and just want to use the user interface. So as an administrator, you're not by default inside admin advanced mode. You're just in normal mode. Okay. Yeah. And then you can enable advanced mode if you're like really want to get into the nitty gritty of all the system details.
Right. So if I'm a non-technical, like I don't want to learn YAML, I don't want to do any of that stuff, I can just hide that stuff, dump it away, and I don't have to deal with it unless there's something really wrong or something missing that I need to fill the blank in, right?
Right. And we're really working to make sure that, that what you're explaining of like, now I really need configuration of YAML, that will not be necessary. So, for example, the core configuration is now set during onboarding, and you can change it on the fly. And that was actually the last part that is still, relied on configuration of YAML. And so now by allowing that to be set, on the fly, people don't need configuration of YAML anymore if they want to start using Home Assistant today. I still think we're not just because of that, we're like user friendly and we're like ready to go with like Home Assistant 1.0, but this is definitely a major milestone.
Fair. Yeah. And in your opinion, and again, obviously we're not going to hold you to this, but How far away do you think realistically 1.0 is? Like,
Well, it's very hard to say.
Yeah.
Just because sometimes certain things kind of like pop up that, like, Home Assistant Cast wasn't planned that way,
Yeah.
right? And so
yeah,
all of a sudden we're having a Home Assistant Cast, and it's awesome, and I think it will be, the community will love it. And so then we have to balance it. Like, I think our main goal and the grand vision is still to work towards Home Assistant 1.0. But if
Yeah.
other cool stuff comes along, we're not gonna like postpone that.
Same with Ingress.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I still want to get Home Assistant 1.0 out this year.
Okay.
And I think my initial goal was to be on our birthday in September for Home Assistant, but I think that's too optimistic at this point.
Fair. Okay.
But the goal is to make Home Assistant more user friendly, and that was also the goal of Hass.io to give Home Assistant to every user. They also have no knowledge how you need to set up a Linux machine or so on.
And it's not like an easy task, it's not like you can just go, oh yeah, we'll just, spend a release and fix up the UI. Like, it's a really big task.
It's a big undertaking. Yeah.
And we've been lucky that we've been getting some help in the form of just mock-ups recently as well. Like, we had some people that are thinking about the UI and like creating mock-ups, because it's not, we can't just expect a person that wants to contribute to Home Assistant to first think of like a useful UI, change it all around, then open a pull request and implement it. That's a lot of skills we expect from a single person. And so there are people out there that have skills in building UIs, and there's people that have skills in designing UIs. And so, see this collaboration come to fruit is really nice, because it really helps, get work done.
And that's good. And that's, people that may not necessarily have the skills to do the building of those UIs can at least then contribute some way in the form of design, and then hand it over to someone else that knows how to do the building. Go, yeah, that looks really cool. Let's build it now and do it properly.
Yeah. So Paulus, if somebody was a UI designer or UX designer and they wanted to help out, what can they do? How can they help?
I think just, talk to us is step one. So in the Devs front-end channel, we're always hanging around, and, there's like things that we want to have designed, but then sometimes we get designs, we just don't have the time to implement it. So there's like some pending designs for like the integrations page. But just hang out in the Devs front-end channel is like the good first step, and just, talking to people and like seeing what's going on. And then the other, we have this challenge that everything we build for our user interface, we want it to work on mobile, and we want it to work on desktop. And it means that we can't always do all the fancy stuff. Like, drag and drop is pretty hard. We still like drag and drop on the web is just pretty hard if it comes also with touch together. And so that's something that we're kind of like working around right now, but maybe sometimes at some point we probably just have to bite the bullet and actually, fix it, because it's sometimes drag and drop is the right approach for user interfaces.
Yep. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and the other point would be the mobile app. So the user interface is sometimes also embedded to do mobile app, and need to also be spin up there.
Yeah, so you don't want, if someone's using the iOS app, they don't want to all of a sudden be thrown into something that can only be used by a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, well, it's even like the biggest challenge on mobile web is just, when the keyboard pops up, half the screen is gone.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So any live preview is gone. Like, there's no space for it anymore. You just have like pretty much the text box. And so that's the biggest challenge, I think. It's just like how all of a sudden you have almost no screen real estate, and how can you still make it a useful thing?
Yeah, fair enough.
So do you have and I'm guessing this is more of, for people that want to help out, do you have like a repository of where you have I know you've got your GitHub issues, but you have like a repository where you've got your people that may have designed something and sent some screenshots? Have you got, apart from in the Discord, have you got that listed somewhere where people could go and look and see if they can contribute to?
Not really. Like, we have a Home Assistant 1.0 project board where we kind of keep track of issues that we definitely want to fix before Home Assistant 1. We have a front-end project board of things that we should probably fix. And some issues there have like some screenshots kind of things, but we don't generally, like, we're not that organized. And I think it's been interesting. I was talking with Frank about this, and it might sound obvious, but the more we write down, the more people will contribute, because we have all these things in our head of like how we want it to be, and this is when we work on Home Assistant, that's what we're working on. But other people don't have this view. They need some more guidance of like, would this be accepted? Because it would be a waste to create a pull request, do all this work, and then we say, well, that's not the direction we want to go. And this happens still sometimes. But the people, they don't always talk to or like hang out in the chat all the time because they have other things to do. And so they don't know if they could work on something, if it's acceptable. And so we've been writing down more issues just to see if like it helps, and it actually has helped. So we should probably also write down some more issues just for design. But the one big challenge we have when it comes to design of anything is that you get this kind of like, we're a public forum, right? So anyone can come and stop by and comment, and you get like the too many cooks in the kitchen,
that's
where
the problem.
if or design by committee, where we're trying to solve a problem and everybody is going to make up a lot of use cases that might never actually happen. And, it's something like, well, should we worry about this, or should we ignore it and then keep everything a lot simpler? And it's, sometimes hard to find that balance, especially because, people will just keep commenting like, oh no, but we need this use case and we need to solve this use case. So that can sometimes be hard with issues.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that work also only for Home Assist. So for Has.io, it's so complex to develop inside Docker environment. I tried that to write up issues, but no one have picked it up until by myself.
Oh, poor Pascal. Just writing, and they could come help me, please.
Somebody, anybody, yeah.
Frank has been doing he's been helping out on like doing like add-on maintenance on like the core and these kind of things. But besides Frank, there are not many people that can grasp all the complexity of Has.io.
There is a lot of add-ons around, but core developers are, there are not a lot. That's true. But I try to focus also more user-friendly, and will try to set up this year a network interface for Has.io so that you can manage your network over the UI. Or if you set up a new Raspberry Pi, that you can connect your mobile phone with a Raspberry Pi and make the first setup of network directly.
Because right now, if you get a Raspberry Pi, I think you have to upload a text file with the network settings and then onto the SD card. So having the ability to do that from a user interface, that would be really cool, especially when you need to change the Wi-Fi password or something.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That is an ID from Paulus. Science a year or longer. But my task list is also very, very
Paulus and Pascal, thank you so much for joining us this week. We really appreciate your time, and congratulations once again for another year around the sun for Has.io. And Paulus, 33, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
No,
happy
very
birthday,
belated,
yeah.
but congratulations. All right, thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
If you want to share your Home Assistant journey or come on as a guest, reach out to us at feedback@hasspodcast.io. That's HASS podcast.io.
The Home Assistant podcast is hosted by Phil Hawthorne and myself, Rohan Karamandi. For links to topics that we discussed today, check out our show notes on hasspodcast.io.